Hello. Grab yourself something to drink, whatever floats your boat. Um, I am so excited. And I had told you guys in an earlier video that I had put up that I would be talking about Claws, the show. Yeah, let's keep our claws in. um, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm hooked on this show, and so much happened. Season 8, episode 8. Okay, that's wishful thinking. We're gonna claim that season 8. Yes. Um, I'm so hooked on this show. I mean, I tried to give you guys an overview. Um, about my thoughts of the show in general. I didn't want to get too specific at the time. But this is episode 8 that I literally just looked at. And again, all I can say is more twisted turns, more captivation. So if you have not seen season 8, Claws, or if you haven't seen any of Claws, I would say, a little, earplugs in, because you don't want to hear this, because it's definitely going to be spoiler alerts as I go over and kind of just do a brief review over everything. So, for those of you who are still listening, basically, as you know, the show is supposed to be set in Florida, and it's about these five manicurists who work in this salon. And like I said earlier, what I really love about the show is the feeling of friendship. I feel like it's about the relationships these women have with each other. And then, of course, there's a lot of stuff that goes on the outside I feel that tests the friendships of these women. And that's what I really like about it. It's like I said earlier, I feel it's a quirky film, a quirky show. I think it's a little out of the box. It's not really something I can put in anything. It's comedy, it's drama, kind of all, in one, because you'll get the laugh out loud moments, but then you'll also get those big tearjerker and almost melodramatic moments that make you say, wow, I mean, they're trying to pull the heartstrings. They're taking it to a deeper level. So as you know, the star is Desna, the main character of the show, and she's taking care of her autistic brother. She kind of heads the salon. She kind of gets into the money laundering side of, I guess you could say, business, with this family who is a crime family in Florida, headed by the crime boss and his two nephews, Bryce and Roller. With Roller at the time when he was, Roller was the main one, kind of leading the pack behind, his uncle. And so Desna has a relationship with Roller. It's an intense relationship. You get the feeling that it is mostly beneficial for both of them. That, obviously he enjoys, the aspects of being with Desna, and she enjoys, shall we say, aspects of being with Roller. But you don't really get the feeling of love. I didn't feel that they had a loving relationship so much as a passionate relationship, if you get my meaning. So they're kind of, Des is the main star, and then she has the other four women who have their own storylines as well. But basically, in this episode, in episode 8, again, I was clutching into my seat, because in the last show, in episode 7, we leave off with seeing that, a few shows earlier, we saw that Roller really wasn't dead, that he was alive. And in spoiler alert, episode 7, we see him at the very end, he's picked up by the Russians. So here it is. He returns to the salon in the opening scene. He actually returns back to Desna's salon. And of course, all 5 women who thought this guy was dead, there he is standing before them. Not only is he standing before them, looking as alive as I don't know what, but he actually, acts like nothing has happened. He, hugs on Desna and talks to everyone, and they're like, well, we thought you were dead, and why didn't you call, Uncle Daddy, which is who they call, his uncle. Everyone calls him Uncle Daddy. And, it was just crazy. He does tell them that he was helped by a woman, but he does not tell them at that point that he was actually kidnapped by this woman and that she was a crazy nutcase, who basically, used him for her own perverted pleasures. And I will leave that out there for you to get my meaning of what I mean by perverted pleasures. Um, and so, it was just weird. I mean, he comes in. So then, Dazzles, of course, I mean, everyone screams when he first comes in, and then they try to suck it back in. But Desna goes with him to Uncle Daddy. And of course, the other women decide, hey, we're going to ride with you. Because, of course, they're thinking, what if he takes her somewhere and kills her? What if he's just pretending that everything is fine, but it's not really fine. So they go with her. He goes to Uncle Daddy's house. And this is what I thought was kind of hilarious at the same time. It's Uncle Daddy, who's played by an actor who really just plays this role very well. Uncle Daddy dotes on Roller. I mean, Roller was the one who was handling all of his business. He was the one making the jobs happen. He was killing people if they needed them to be killed. He was really not afraid to go all out. And when he lost Roller, he really took it hard. If you looked at one of the series, one of the other previous episodes when they thought Roller to be dead, I mean, Uncle Daddy ran outside and was like punching the car with his bare hands, and then at the funeral, Uncle Daddy was like literally rolling around, I don't mean to laugh, but he was rolling around on the ground, and pummeling the ground like a little kid throwing a tantrum. But it was funny, it was hilarious, but it also was sad at the same time because you really see that Uncle Daddy, who's this hardened crime lord, who's done all types of manner of things, including killing people, and has one of the policemen on his payroll. You see that, this guy really does have a heart. So he's sitting there in his living room and he's making a deal with these other guys they're trying to expand their services, their pharmaceutical services. Basically, they take, these pain clinics and they, are doing a bunch of legal stuff with, the drugs and so on and so forth. Just a bunch of shady stuff that they do. And he's sitting there discussing the deal and congratulating the guys on this deal that's going to go through. And all of a sudden, he looks at this painting. And I'm assuming the painting is of the two men, the two boys. I say boys, but, his two nephews, Bryce and Roller, I'm thinking. And then one of the male figures in the painting, his eye is running blood. And it's almost like it reminds you of when those people say, well, I saw the face of Jesus Christ on a piece of toast. It's a miracle, and everyone preserves the piece of toast. That picture with the blood kind of reminded me of that moment because he's seeing blood coming down the face. And then he slowly turns, and there you see Roller, who looks like he's literally levitating, going up the stair, this huge staircase in this mansion. And he's got a golden orb of light around him, like, oh, like you can almost hear the angels singing as he is floating almost up the stairs. And that's how, in the mind of Uncle Daddy, that he's seeing Roller as Roller really is just walking up the stairs with the women all behind him. But Uncle Daddy sees him as it's like a biblical, spiritual moment, which is interesting because there were points where Uncle Daddy seems to talk about the Bible, and he'll bring up, something that was in the Bible, and he'll quote it, and it actually makes sense. And you're like, wow, I guess he does really know the Bible, and seems like he kind of has some sort of foundation on that, regardless of his crime ways. So it makes sense that he would see him in like that biblical type sense coming up those stairs, which I thought was kind of hilarious and funny and sad at the same time. Because you kind of feel for Uncle Daddy because you realize that he idolizes, these are his boys, his sons, that he raised them. Never says what happened to their mom and dad, but you get the feeling that Uncle Daddy is their dad and that Uncle Daddy's wife is their mom, and that's how they kind of have raised these boys. So basically, he goes through there, and it gets just really, really funny. So the the crazy doctor who manages the clinic for them, in a sense, manages. He has a lot of emotional issues. We've seen in other shows his wife has left him. He's a bit of a loon. And I don't know what happens to get his eyes to stay popped the entire time, but somehow also they allude to the point that he's using some of the pharmaceuticals that he's supposed to be administering out. And there are moments where you really believe it because his eyes stay popped the whole time. His eyes just stare like this big. It's insane. So anyways, the doctor's there, he texts Roller out. There, he's saying that Roller is suffering from post-stress traumatic disorder and that he can't remember that incident because it was so traumatic and that it's a situational incident. And maybe, who knows, his memory could come back and he can remember who shot him, which we all know by now that the people that shot him was, Desna started it by hitting him, in the head and then proceeding to try to choke him in the swimming pool. And then he leapt out and, of course, started pummeling Desna, in which Virginia ended up shooting him. Had she not shot Roller, I believe truly Roller was going to beat Desna to death. So Virginia really did save Desna's life. So everyone's in the room. They're all hoping, of course, he doesn't remember. And basically, after this, it goes on that, like I said, he didn't remember anything, but he wants to leave the house and he wants to go to Desna's house. And Desna's like, why? Like, you never liked my house. She lives in a small, very kind of modest type house. Obviously she's struggling. She doesn't have a lot of money. And this guy was living in a mansion, so I see how he may have been a little snooty towards her. He says, no, I don't want to go home. I just want to go with you. And he actually goes to her house and they make what I can only describe as passionate love. And by the way, I am really I know Roller is the bad guy, obviously, but Roller, I'm fiending for you. Roller is, you just don't realize how attractive he is. And so it's like, wow, he really is a good looking guy. Even when he's wearing these grills and everything like that, he comes across as very attractive. And he's being so sweet to her, and they make passionate love. And one of the things that he likes to do is have her choke him while they are, passionately engaged, I'll say. And when she goes to do that, he says, no, I don't want that anymore. I want you on top. And so it's like a totally different Roller. Like, he's tender, he's sweet in the bedroom. She can't believe it, And basically at this point, her boyfriend shows up. If we remember the other scenes in the previous episode, she meets this guy. She's always too busy for him. A lot of times her cell phone's ringing. She's in one mess, in and out the other. But this boyfriend seems like he's really standing by her side. So as Roller is leaving in the morning, the house, she goes out first, and there's the boyfriend. And she gives him a kiss, and he's like, I bought something for us. Looks like he had bought some food for them to eat. He's a sweetheart, but she's like, you got to go, come back later. That type of thing. But as she kisses him by, Roller sees it, and he's like, wow, you couldn't wait until I'm dead, and I was dead, and you already have moved on to this guy, really? But I give him his props. He really handled it well. I just thought Roller was going to try to shoot the guy right then and there, but he pulled it together. But it was crazy because when Roller leaves, the guy's like, so tell me, what is the deal with you and this guy? Because he could tell there were some vibes. And she lied. I do not think she should have lied to this guy. I think she should have been honest and just explained, because Roller's dangerous, as we all know. And she puts this guy's life in danger by him thinking, nothing's between her and Roller. This was a guy I used to see, but we no longer kick it, right? You just have passionate love with this guy. Literally, his smell is still on you, So I didn't understand that, and I kind of was like, kind of giving her, as people would say, the side eye on that. Because I'm like, you're kind of doing yourself and this guy injustice. But I'll continue on part 2 of this.